welcome to Hatha. Today's evening practice, as I just stated, was going to focus on some heart openers. So for our February practice, we're going to try to do our best today to just open up our hearts, not only figuratively, but physically as well. So as you rest here on your back, just take a couple breaths to kind of take note. See what's happening in the body, not only physically, but maybe mentally. Maybe it's just been kind of one of those days where you need a reset. So today's opening reading is entitled Creating Ourselves. The self is not something ready-made, but something in continuous formation through choice of action. John Dewey. We make choices every day that define who we are and what we value. How we dress, what we eat, what kind of car we drive, what quality of work we do, where we live, what we do with our spare time, how we treat other people, and how we treat ourselves. We need to make those choices carefully and thoughtfully because this is how we create who we are. I will think hard about my choices, the choices I make today, and what they say about me as a person. Of course, I think you've made a great choice, choosing to put yourself first, even if it's just for 60 minutes, taking some time to find some peace on your yoga mat. As that inhale begins to deepen, let your belly rise towards the sky. As your exhale leaves the body, belly button gently falls down towards the spine. Just take your time, move through a few more easy breaths here. Belly rising and belly falling. A rise and a fall. If your legs have been straight, we're going to take our time to slowly start to bend the knees. Walk the soles of the feet up a little closer to our glutes. Knees are bent up towards the ceiling, but just keep some space. There's no problem with keeping the knees maybe even a little wider than hips. And just let those knees start to sweep to the right and to the left. Perhaps your hands stay on your belly or they kind of hang out to the sides of the body, maybe even making cactus arms. Whatever feels good in your upper back as you just take your time, opening the outer edges of the hips, paying attention to the hip flexors, feeling a little twist of the spine and the core. Easy wind chill right, easy wind chill left. Beautiful. As you feel ready, we'll let those knees come back towards center, freeze them in that spot, and then welcome the right knee in towards your belly. So just point and flex the toes, roll around the ankle on that foot, maybe even let your head sway a little bit right and left too, paying attention to any stress you're carrying in your upper back and in your shoulders. Let this right foot start to extend up towards the ceiling. Point through your toes, and then just bring your hands down and put them on either sides of the body. Just in pointing this up towards the sky, you're going to feel some activation in your hamstrings, your quads, your ankle. Maybe even start to draw a small circle with your toes on the ceiling. So I'm letting my leg kind of swing in a circular motion. It can be large or small. You're going to feel some core engagement for sure, starting to turn on here a little bit. Just take your time. Now, if it's too much with the leg straight, you can even bend the knee and just kind of let that hip do a little circling too. That's okay too. Wherever you are, at any given moment is just where you're supposed to be. It's all right. Take your time to bring that knee back down into belly. Give it a hug. Point and flex the ankle and the toes. And then we'll bring that foot back to earth and switch sides, inviting in the left leg this time, Point and flex the toes, roll around the ankle, give it a nice good squeeze. Aiding in some digestion. All right, hands coming on either sides of the hips, extending that left foot up, left leg up, point through the toe. Maybe you take those circle motions as we did before. And if you need to hold on to the back of this leg, you certainly can do that. But if you want to turn it into a little bit more work for your core, you can bring those hands down on either side. But it is completely up to you. Knowing, of course, too, if the hamstring gets a little angry, you can bend the knee for a moment. All you're trying to do is just talk to your muscles, wake them up, give them a little love and appreciation to start today. Bring the knee down into the chest again, point and flex toes, roll around ankle, greet it, say good morning, good afternoon, good evening. All right, put that foot down on the floor, hands on either sides of the hips, and we're gonna lift to bridge. So just thinking about belly button lifting slightly up towards the sky, your knees staying hip distance apart, waking up again those quads. So a bridge pose in yoga, most of the weight is still back on your shoulders and your head. You've got sturdy, strong feet into the ground. And you only have to lift as high as you feel comfortable doing. It's early on, so maybe this is just a little lift for you today. Inhale to lift the heels up off the ground, and then take your time, one vertebra at a time, starting up near your shoulders. Starts to move back down into your mat. Once your hips and the lowest part of your spine hit the mat, walk the feet together, let your knees fall apart. You are in bound ankle or a reclined butterfly. Take 3 full breaths here. Using your inhale, take your right hand to the outer edge of your right knee and stand just the right knee up to the sky. Then from there, slide that right leg long. So you've got a bent left knee and a long right leg. You look like you're doing tree pose, but you're on your back. Maybe you even reach your hands up overhead, make your spine nice and long. Hands might connect at a high prayer or with some bent elbows. And you're just gonna take about 2 more breaths here. Flex the toes on that right leg for more, or relax those toes for less. Beautiful. Start to bring those hands down closer to the sides of the body, standing this right knee back up. Let the right knee fall all the way down to the side, and then your left leg's gonna go long. So you just switch your tree to the other side. Arms might reach up overhead. Now, if bending that knee out to the side is causing a little bit of discomfort, you can always take a rolled blanket or a block and place it underneath the outer edge of that knee. Remembering flexed left toes is more, relaxed left leg is less. One more nice breath. Perfect. Start to soften those elbows, soften the arms, bring that left leg back up, and then let it fall out to the side one last time, bound angle, both knees out to the side edges of your mat. Breath is steady. Taking your hands down towards those outer edges of knees, stand both knees up to center, and then bring both knees in towards your belly. Option to begin rocking on the spine to bring you up to a seated posture. Once you find your seat, you might choose crisscross or some version of that, maybe one leg out, one leg in. Reach the hands out wide, close the eyes, flip the palms so that they face forward. And then I just want you to send your right arm across the body. Left arm comes underneath. So we kind of take A little bit of a shoulder stretch. Pull that right arm off to the side, and then you're just gonna tip down towards your left. Inhale, bring that back to center. Maybe close your eyes again because you know what's happening. Let the arms go out to T, find a breath. Send the left arm across the body, start to sweep that right arm underneath now that you know what's happening. Stretch that shoulder, and then tip. All right, inhale back to center. So now that we know what that's supposed to feel like, let's do it again. T, and send it over, and tip it down. Now you notice that my chest is staying nice and square. Try to see what you can do with yours. Back to center, that looks good. Take it out. Guys at home look nice. Looks like you got the hang of this shoulder stretch. I really like this because it does give my shoulders what it needs, but it also is a good side body opener. So hopefully you're feeling this down the edges of those intercostal muscles, bringing that back towards center. Take it back out to T, and then just inhale, reach high as you can go. Exhale and just fold. Maybe your hands fall way out in front, or maybe they just kind of gently lay on the floor as you hinge at the hip creases, and just kind of lean your belly down to lay on top of your legs, or somewhere there in the middle. All right, inhale, breath, come back up. Start to walk these hands behind you. Maybe your palms face so that the heels of the hands are towards you and the fingers are away, and you're just trying to kind of walk your shoulders down away from your shoulder or from your ears. And the middle of your t-shirt, middle of your chest is trying to just kind of explode and open up. If you feel comfortable enough to maybe lift the chin or close the eyes, feel free. And just give it one more breath. All right, my friends, take your time, hands walk back around front, and then we're just gonna move to tabletop. If you know you have sensitive knees when you start to move to that tabletop position, feel free to reach for a blanket or a towel, something to put underneath those knees. If you want that, if you're in a situation where you don't have that, your knees start to get sensitive, you can always take a portion of your mat, double it over, and just give yourself a little knee pad there. Belly drops down towards the earth on your inhale, chin and tail lift. And then your exhale rounds the back, rounds the spine. You know cat-cow, so just take your time to move through. That's pretty basic. So as much as we can here, let this be a moving meditation. Your inhale breath happens when the belly drops, and your exhale breath happens when your spine lifts. It's pretty simple, but it does so much wonderful work for our upper back, our shoulders, our hips, our low back, all throughout our spine. One more breath. Next time you hit that angry cat, go ahead and sit back onto your heels, take a child's pose, and just breathe. Perhaps your forehead drops all the way down into the earth on this child. You get another nice round of breath. Inhale, bring yourself back up to table. Curl the toes under. Let's take our first down dog. So hips lift up nice and high. Walk this out, putting some weight in the right foot and then the left foot. Then when you feel ready, your right knee's gonna drop into the earth. We're gonna step our left foot all the way through. If you have a set of blocks, maybe you reach for those and put them on either side of that left foot and lean into that left foot. Right hand stays on block or on the floor as we start to lift and open. So the same knee that's bent, that arm is what's lifting up. Perfect. Bring that hand back down to the floor. Shift your weight so that your heel is planted, toes lift. Big stretch for the calf and the shin, maybe pointing and flexing here. Perfect. Start to shift that weight back forward to this foot. And then you're gonna keep your left hand on the block this time, and your right hand's gonna lift up, put it by your ear, and then walk that block back one big step as you reach this arm overhead and reach towards that left side. Good. Back to center. Bring this hand down, the one that's been in the sky, let it look for your blocks. Maybe you turn those over, make them a little shorter, curl those back toes under, give yourself just a nice runner's lunge. 2 breaths here. Now I'm gonna make the choice here in just a moment to turn my blocks on their flattest side and use those as I step my front foot all the way to the back and find down dog. You can also move your hands so that they are no longer on a set of blocks and they're on your mat. You can choose. If your hands are on blocks, it's important to remember to use them like an anchor. So put them at the heels, hanging off the edge of those blocks so that you can anchor them in place. Left knee drops down to mat, right foot steps through towards your hands. Maybe you reach for blocks again. Settle in. Right knee is forward, so left hand stays on block. Right hand opens for the twist. So the same knee that is bent, that arm is what's up. Exhale that hand back down. Turn those blocks, maybe stand them up tall, come back. Toes lift, heel plants. Shifting weight, walking hands back up. All right. This time, keeping the right hand down, we'll lift the left hand up, bicep by ear, then walk that right block back near your hip, reach up and over for a nice big side body stretch. Coming back to center, bringing those hands down the blocks, put them perhaps on a shorter side, curl toes under, lift that back knee, big runner's lunge, pushing through that back heel, trying to get as much length out of that back leg as we can. You can either scoot the blocks completely out of the way again or turn them on their shortest side. Big step back, downward facing dog. All right, my friends, from this down dog, we're gonna take small steps with the feet, start to walk them forward towards your hands, hang in a forward fold. Inhale to bring yourself up halfway. Exhale, fold. Plant the feet strong and steady. Hands reach up, look up. Exhale out, take a cactus shape. Inhale, hands to heart. Lace the fingers together. Exhale, press palms forward, bend the knees. Inhale, bring this back into your chest. Reach around back. Exhale, open the heart. Inhale, release those hands, bring them around front. Exhale, fold into your blocks or to the floor. Inhale, come up halfway. Exhale, fold. Inhale, reach up, look up. As the exhale comes, you're back to cactus. Inhale, hands to heart. The exhale is the clasp or position of those hands back into that chair pose. Inhale, stand up tall. Start thinking about bringing these around back for the next exhale. Inhale, they come back around front. We're gonna do it one more time. Exhale, fold. Inhale, halfway up. These look fantastic. Flat backs. Exhale, fold. Stand up when you're ready. Use your own pattern of breath. Finding that inhale. Reaching for cactus. Hands to the heart. Find the exhale as you lace and sit. Inhale back in. Final one, reach around back, exhale, hold here. So you're gonna exhale and then you'll find an inhale. And then you'll find an exhale. And then a final inhale. Letting go on the next exhale. Good work. So from this standing tall position, we're going to take our right foot back. Place yourself in a big crescent lunge. So that's a balance pose, even though it doesn't always seem like it. Hips are as square as we can get them. Now, if this back foot doesn't like that, it can be closer, it can be slightly turned out, it can be a big step. You change this up however you need. Hands reach behind, maybe they lace. If that's too much, just grab your wrists or just kind of have the hands grab kind of in a little friendship grab, whatever works for you behind your back. Hold. Release those hands, let them come around front. And this time, as you press your palms forward, you're gonna see if you can bring that back foot up off the ground. Put it back down, good work. Swing them around, lace them again, open the heart. Release those hands, swing them around, last one. Press, move into a little balance. Fly the hands out, just come back to standing. Yep, laugh it off. They're wobbling just as much at home, don't you worry. That's a big one. Inhale, hands reach up. Exhale, fold. I purposely did not try to lift my leg very high. I knew it was coming. Half lift. Exhale, fold. Good work, friends. Back to standing. Inhale it up. Take this cactus just to exhale. Hands come into heart. All right, let's step back with the other foot this time. Left foot steps back. We're going to make that big crescent. Take your time to square your hips. See if you can figure out your balance. Hands reach behind, whatever version of a heart opener you can find. Again, making sure those shoulders are down from your ears. Pull the belly button into the spine. Hands come around. See if you can lace. Don't lift too high. Good. Hold. Perfect. Send it back down. Hands go around. Quite a bit of concentration here. Try to think about your to-do list or any other stresses on your mind when you balance, and you'll end up on your face. So just stay right here. Be present. Think about the balance task at hand and nothing else. Swing that lifted leg around to meet your standing leg. Sometimes it's easier on the other side because we know what in the world we're expecting this body to do. Exhale, fold. You got it, halfway up. Exhale, fold. All the way up to standing. Find that cactus shape again. Exhale it out. All right, hands come into the heart. We're gonna separate our feet a little wider than hips. Turn your toes slightly outward. You've got blocks handy, so feel free to use those if you want them. We're gonna come into a wide-kneed squat. Now, if this doesn't work, don't worry, because we're not gonna be here for very long. We're gonna switch from wide-kneed squat to knees forward. So if you need to skip the squat, you can just rock your knees forward whenever. But I like a little bit of movement in my squat. If you wanna kind of sway around a little, feel free. All right, from this squat, your knees are gonna come forward as I told you before. Just let them find the mat. Option to maybe let the toenails come down and find the floor. Maybe your hips sit back. If that's like, I don't know about that, Carrie, you can keep your toes rolled under, or you can just stay up and don't sit back at all. Give yourself a couple breaths. Even though I said heart openers, there's always hips and low back stuck in here too. And you think, how in the world could this be your hips? It is. In addition to ankles and knees and calves and quads, lots of other stuff. All right, bring these hands forward, let them find the earth. You're gonna curl your toes under and try a little balance to go back up onto your feet. And then keep your hands towards the floor or a set of blocks and only lift your hips. So that just means you're gonna turn yourself upside down. All right, perfect. Start walking the feet backwards. So if you've had your hands on blocks, put them on the earth, walk the feet back. Downward facing dog. Shift from down dog to traditional plank, or maybe plank on your knees, depending on how strong you feel today. Hold that pose. One more nice round of breath. And then our knees drop into the earth as we slowly lower down and look for cobra. So belly's gonna find the ground. Hands on either sides of the heart, press the pelvis into the earth. Just a gentle lift, shoulders down away from your ears. Now cobra is not up dog, they are different. You have bent elbows, very little pressure in your arms. Glutes are engaged, thighs are engaged, knees are up off the ground. I'm just lifting and lowering a couple times here with my breath. Feel free to join me. Last one. Perfect. Bring your left arm out in front. Lay it underneath your forehead. Reach your right arm nice and long, straight out in front. As you inhale, you're going to point your left toe, lift your left leg and your right arm. Forehead might stay on your arm or might lift slightly. Exhale, lower. Let's do that 2 more times. Crossing the midline here. Working with opposite sides of the body 1 more time. Now switch out your arms. Right arm becomes the pillow, left arm reaches out. Inhale, point through your right toes, lift left and right. Settle down, you guys got it. That strength in your low back. Pressing through those toes. Last one. Beautiful. Hands come in front, reverse Savasana, 2 breaths. Just let yourself relax here. Opening the arms out to make a Y shape now. So both arms are extended. Arms are out wide. Inhale, breath. Lift just the chest. We call this walrus pose because you really do kind of look like walrus. Arms are wide. Now this can be a big lift for some of you, or for others, you may even be just kind of using your elbows to even hold this as like a big wide sphinx. That's okay too. One more inhale breath. You're really pushing that pelvis into the ground, tops of the feet. Exhale, release. Good work. All right, hands coming back even with about the breastbone. I'm bending my knees, curling my toes under, getting myself ready to push back up to either half plank or full plank. Use an inhale breath when you feel ready. Push those hands into the ground, pull the belly button in, and then we're back up into your downward dog shape. Walk it out. Good work. Right foot lifts high into the sky. Bring that right knee forward towards your right wrist. You're finding pigeon pose. So right knee drops behind that right wrist. Right toes cut across the mat at about a 45. Left leg goes long. Now, if traditional pigeon doesn't work for you, just fall over here to your right. Bring this back knee around. You can take some sort of modified version here, or you can place blocks or props anywhere around there to get a little more cozy and comfy. Those of you at home, I know you guys like pigeon, so go ahead and stay in whatever version of pigeon works for you. Maybe your chest is high, or you're finding a prop for your arms to rest down into the earth. All right, as you feel ready, slowly start to bring your chest up from the earth. You've got this right knee bent, so we're just gonna fall completely to the right. Start to swing this left leg from around the back. And if you can create fire log, try for that. So your right leg is down on the bottom, ankle lines up with knee, and you create fire log. Now, if it doesn't work, it's not a big deal. We can always throw a blanket in here, guys. You know that. Give yourself a little bit of space there. You can put this foot over on the floor and just give yourself a nice tall spine. Whatever version of this shape works for you. If you feel like you can lean into it a little bit, you certainly can. And if that foot doesn't get all the way over, that's okay too. It can just be like a big version of crisscross, or kind of a half lotus. Just as long as you're feeling something, you're walking that delicate line between like a stretch, little mild discomfort, but certainly no pain, and some ease. All right, start to come up out of that shape. We're gonna send our legs around. Start to just bring yourself, hands to the ground, go back up, find your down dog. Doesn't have to be real fancy there, just whatever you can get into. Walk that down dog a little bit. And then the left foot lifts to the sky. You've got it. Left foot moves through, looking for left knee behind that left wrist. Starting to move into that pigeon on this side. So just take your time. And as I have pointed out before, you know, just kind of like knee toe this leg back a little longer. Maybe use a block or a blanket back underneath that hip if it needs something to kind of support it. If you got a lot of pressure on this knee, figure out a better place for that front leg. A lot of times I have to roll out of the pose first, figure out what to do with my legs, and then get back into it. So if that's what's happening with you, that's okay too. Those at home, it looks like you fully released into the pose, so that's great. Go ahead and let your chest fall down. Let your forehead rest on the mat or on the blanket, on your arms, or just kind of hang in space. So a longer hold here, just for a couple more breaths. Perfect. Use your next natural inhale to start to bring the chest up. You're going to fall all the way over to that left side. Right leg starts to swing from around back like it did before, setting yourself into whatever version of fire log you can find. So even if you need to use what Becca always called kindling, which I thought was cute, maybe you put some blocks in here to kind of help hold the knee, spine gets nice and tall, maybe you hinge forward. Again, walking that delicate line between a stretch with a little mild discomfort and ease. We certainly don't want any pain, but sometimes it is a little uncomfortable. All right, chest comes back up. If you chose to lean forward, just take your time to come out of that. Again, it doesn't have to be fancy, but just move on to hands and knees again. Lift yourself back up, find your down dog, and walk that dog. A little bit of strength tucked in here, so we're going to shift from your down dog to a plank pose. You can choose to drop knees to the ground at any point in time, but you'll hold the plank for 2 breaths, and then you'll get relief by lifting those hips back up and just going to down dog. Hold for 2 breaths. Down dog to plank pose now. Hold for 2 breaths. Those of you looking to take it up a notch, you might even march the hands, coming and doing a little tap across at the opposite shoulder. When you feel ready, hips lift back up, downward dog, 2 breaths. Walk these out, widen the feet, wag the tail, sway the hips, bend the knees, whatever feels good in your own physical body. And then we're back to plank again. Staying in that shape. And then you're back to down dog. Great work. From this down dog, we'll walk feet slowly up towards your hands, or just kind of bring your hands up off the earth and just kind of walk your way up here to the front of the mat. Forward fold. Inhale, breath brings us up halfway. Exhale, folds. Inhale, reach the hands up. Take that cactus shape again. Hands come into heart. And then we're just going to put a little weight into your right foot. I'm going to mirror you this time. So a little weight in your right foot. Left toes come to kickstand. See if you can take those hands laced like we did before. And then you can move back so that you guys can see me at home. And then see if those hands can come up over your head. I have to keep a little gentle bend in my elbows, but if you want to push up through your fingertips, feel free. Otherwise, just keep that gentle bend. Toes might just stay right there on the ground, or they might lift a little higher today. Make yourself long and lean and tall. Breathe. Perfect. Let those arms come out. Take cactus. Foot comes back to earth. Good job. Sway this around just a little bit. You might even choose to take your hands to your hip creases and just fold down, head down in between your feet for a moment. Maybe even letting your hands come down to the floor or to a ragdoll shape. Especially those of you who came today thinking, you know what, my low back is just done. I need some help. Back needs yoga, then put yourself in that ragdoll pose. Or even if that wasn't true, ragdoll probably still feels good. Hands start to look for earth. Bring yourself up halfway. Get that inhale back going in the body. Exhale it down. Inhale it up. Look for cactus on the following exhale, only when you feel ready. Hands into the heart. Start thinking about kind of lacing them again. Opposite foot, left foot takes your standing point, pressing through those palms. They lift up over the head. Maybe they have a bend. Always thinking about this outer hip, keeping a lift through that standing leg, avoiding sitting out to the side. Yep, pick a place of focus anywhere in your space. Probably several feet out in front, maybe on the floor or on the wall. You got it for 2 and 1. Cactus, foot comes down. Excellent work. Feet step wide. Go again. Hang in that ragdoll. Let the head shake easy side to side. Now, just as we did before when we were in this big wide stance, go ahead and turn your heels slowly in towards one another. Drop your hands down. If another squat works again today, let's go find it. This time you might add a little twist to your squat. Maybe you keep your right hand down towards the ground and open up with your left. Maybe you put your left hand down or even on a block and you open with your right. All right, instead of rocking forward onto our knees, this time you're going to send yourself backward, tail looking for the mat. Place your feet out in front, gentle bend in the knees, and then that same kind of sunbather pose we did earlier. Fingers facing away from you, heels facing towards you. Lift the heart up. Maybe drop the head. If head has been dropped, take your time to bring it back up. Easy, walk these hands forward. Perfect. Bring those hands down. Maybe they sit at the sides of you. Maybe they grab onto the backs of the thighs. We're just going to move into whatever version of boat works for you today. There is no shame in doing one toe on the earth, one leg lift, and then give it a switch. Sometimes we need to start pretty basic. Boat is big, and there's all kinds of reasons why boat does not always agree with us. We don't have to look like the picture of the legs fully extended and the arms up in the air, though if you do, that works too. Middle of the chest is lifted. 3, 2, 1. Good job, my friends. Feet come together, knees fall out, fall through the middle here. And then I want you to just see if you can bring your chest up. Maybe your feet stay in that bound angle. Lace the fingers together one more time and see if it can come behind the back of your head. Now for me, there's something strange about being in this shape in my legs and my arms. It's like my legs all of a sudden don't work that way. So I end up having to spread this a little wider and look like more of a diamond shape. If you are like me and you need that, feel free. Lift that spine, try not to keep the chin in the chest. If your belly can fall forward towards your mat, as if you are closing these two shapes into one another, great. Something about just that little bit of pressure behind the back of our head changes this so much. Use the inhale when you feel ready to bring the chest back up. Release those hands down to the sides. Stand the knees back up. And give me one more boat. Feet lift. Ride those waves. See the light shining in the distance. Set the course. Beautiful. Feet drop into mat. Arms wrap around. Relax. Feet probably need to be wider. Knees be wider. Give space for chest, belly, chin, head. All right. And then we head to our backs. So take your time here, figuring out where you are on your mat. Maybe you want to take a block with you. Maybe you want a blanket with you. Having some props nearby is always helpful. Maybe when you hit the earth, your knees come right in and they go to the belly. Or maybe you relax a little bit with your feet on the earth. Close the eyes and just make a quiet observation. See how the body feels. Bringing those feet to the ground if they have been hugged into you. If you took a block with you, stick it between the thighs. If you don't have a block, but maybe you have a blanket, you can do that. Or you can do this without any props. Arms reach out to the side, maybe taking T shape, either palms flipped up or facing down. We'll begin to let our knees fall to one side. You can choose. Now, I personally have to do a little arranging of my hips. So if I'm going to fall to the left, I often lift my hips up, pull them to the right, and then bring my knees to the left. I'm bringing my knees in pretty close to the body today because that feels good to me. Yours don't have to be. Your head might be laying flat to the earth, on your mat, or with a blanket or block supporting the neck. If you need more than one block, or you need to make that block taller, or you want to put it down closer to your ankles or your heels instead of between your thighs, that's okay too. Make any adjustments that you like. Knowing that you are definitely in the part of practice where if things just don't really hit the way you want them to, change it up. Realizing that this is for you. You made the choice. You could have made so many other choices of what to do with this 60 minutes. but you chose to take care of yourself. Not only your physical body, but create and leave space for your mind and spirit as well. Taking your time, when you feel ready, we'll start to maybe help those knees. Maybe they move back to center. You might need to realign your spine, deciding to shift the hips a little bit more the opposite way before rolling into a nice reclined twist on this side. Deciding what you want to do with your gaze. Maybe it's off to the side, maybe it's up to the ceiling. As this twist on this side begins to feel complete, take your time, helping those knees back to center, maybe even using your palms of the hands to give them a little push. If you've had a block between your knees, you can keep it there or you can release. You might even choose to put yourself into a little bit of a supported bridge, walking the heels of feet closer to the glutes, lifting hips up off the ground, sliding a block underneath the back. It might make sense here to have that block on its shortest side and then maybe lift your feet up towards the sky. A waterfall pose does so much for circulation, flipping our feet above the heart, giving it a chance to reset and settle. Allowing the muscles of the face to relax. Those of us with our feet in the air, feel free to get those shoulders out from underneath of you. Maybe add a little wiggling to your toes or to your fingers just to release any final tension hiding in those limbs. If your legs have been lifted and that's becoming too much, just bend the knees, maybe even bring the feet slowly down towards the mat. You might choose to lengthen one leg at a time, long down the mat, taking a long body stretch across the front side of our body. Or you can stay right where you are in that supported bridge for 3 or 4 more breaths. The next pose on deck is simply Savasana. So if at any point in time you're ready to move into that final shape, feel free. But also know you have a little bit of time. If there's something else that the body still might be asking for, maybe it's knees to chest or happy baby. maybe a pigeon on your back, or just a little bit of work with ankles or wrists, whatever you might still need, feel free to embrace. Taking time to move into your final savasana. Spending an extra moment or so just to get comfortable. Figuring out what props might be necessary in order for you to enjoy this place of rest. If your low back feels a little tender, you may try propping up your knees with a set of blocks. If you want a little more heart opening, you might choose to roll a towel or a blanket in a round bolster to place up the spine. But make your way to that final pose and let everything begin to sift and settle back into place. Letting go of anything that you no longer need, whether that be emotions coming up right now, to-dos, or just anything that might be kind of weighing on your mind. Just go ahead and let it go. So we'll come back to you later. Right now, this is just about my breath. I'm going to concentrate on taking slow, easy inhales and slow, easy exhales.
Slowly starting to become aware of your breath. Gently allowing for easy movements of the fingers and the toes. Maybe bringing the knees into the chest before returning yourself to your right-hand side, resting there just for a few moments, but take your time, friends. No rush. As you start to return to your seat, we'll finish again with today's opening reading. The self is not something ready-made, but something in a conscious, continuous formation through choice of action. We need to make choices carefully and thoughtfully, because this is how we create who we are. I will think hard about the choices I make today and what they say about me as a person. I greatly appreciate you making the choice to hit play, start, reserve, drive yourself here, get yourself to class. We're always so grateful to practice alongside you. May you have a wonderful rest of your day. Namaste. Thank you, guys. Thank you. Thanks, guys at home. Guys, have a good rest of your evening.